Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the top 4 stars that you guys should be investing on. Because what I realized is that Genshin Impact's player base has grown significantly in the past 1 year of its release, and more and more players are actually coming in. So I would like to help those new players, especially if you're still at the early stage or in the middle of the game. I would like to let you guys know what are the top 4-star teams that you guys can build that will be useful in the long run. If you are AR40 and below, please keep watching as this video might actually help you a lot. But before we dig in deeper, a like and subscribe to the channel would really mean a lot. If you find this video helpful, consider liking and subscribing for me to help to reach out to more audience. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Looking at the current party that I have, you might be familiar with some of these characters already, as some of these characters are actually given for free, just like Shangling and also Leona, which is actually pretty good because this is exactly why you should be building these characters, and it just makes it easier for you to build these characters because some of them are given for free. So currently I have four-star characters in my party right now, but I would actually like to talk to you about 6 particular characters that I think everyone, if you have any of these characters, you should be investing on them, regardless if you're in the middle or early stage in the game. Because even if you have reached, AR50 or AR56, these characters would be the ones that you are still able to use, and they are actually a great support together with your 5-star characters. Before we dig in deeper into the builds and also best artifacts for these characters, let's do a little bit of a showcase first, just so you guys can see the damage potential of these 4-star characters, just for the sake of comparison and for you guys to see how much damage output they can actually give. So there you guys have it. So despite of using all 4 stars in this particular party, we are still able to clear the content pretty comfortably. I believe we are able to clear or defeat the boss in like a minute or less than a minute. So it just shows you that despite of using 4-star characters with pretty mediocre build or not really like a heavy investment, you're still able to clear the contents in the game, or at least most of the contents in the game, not to mention the Spiral Abyss. So let's just go through real quick in terms of how I built these particular characters, and also I wanted to tell you what would be the best build, the best weapons for these particular characters. So let's start with Sincho. So as you guys can see here, I have a level 80 Xingqiu. Xingqiu right now doesn't need to be at the level 90, so you can keep him at level 80 or at least 70 over 80, so that you don't have to spend that much resources for him. The best weapon for Xingqiu would definitely be the Sacrificial Sword. If you're lucky to get more refinements or more copies of it, definitely it would be better, because as you guys can see here, the passive of this sword is basically it kind of like resets the cooldown of your elemental skill, which right now I have what I call this 80% chance of resetting the cooldown whenever I use it, which is actually pretty useful for Xingqiu because his elemental skill actually has a pretty long cooldown. So if you don't have Sacrificial Sword, pretty much you're able to use other weapons, just like Favonius Sword. And then at the same time, if you don't have Favonius Sword, you just started playing the game, you're pretty much able to use, Lion's Roar or the Flute. But if you're talking about end game, if you're going towards clearing more difficult contents and different bosses, definitely the best two weapons would definitely be Sacrificial Sword as well as Favonius Sword. So in terms of artifact, he's pretty much easy to build. You just have to make sure that you have a hydro damage bonus, which is the Heart of Depth set. So you can pretty much run two piece, which means two piece noblesse for that extra ultimate damage bonus or Q damage bonus if you're a PC player. And so let's just go through the the artifact substat real quick. So you want to make sure that for sense you're using attack. If you are still lacking of energy recharge, you can choose energy recharge sense. But for me, because I'm already running the sacrificial sword, I prefer, or I opted into the attack for a little bit of extra damage, and of course for goblet, hydro damage bonus, and then for circlet, depending on what you need, but it will definitely be either crit rate or crit damage. In terms of the ratio, I'm pretty much at 57 109 with 191 energy recharge, as well as 81% hydro damage bonus. For Constellation, I'm running Sincho on Constellation 6, and for talents, it's for 1111. So let's go through the next character. So in the showcase that I've just shown you guys, I am pretty much, Shangling was pretty much my main DPS. She was the one who's really sort of like, dealing most of the damage. It's because, and Shangling is actually a pretty decent DPS as well. So let's just go through her build. So far, she's currently on 58 crit rate and 179 crit damage, with 124 energy recharge, as well as 61% pyro damage bonus. In terms of weapon, I'm running Deathmatch, which is a weapon that you can get from Battle Pass. So it's currently on Refinement 2. In terms of artifacts, currently the best artifact for Shangling would be either 4-piece of Crimson Witch of Flames, or 2-piece of Crimson, as well as 2-piece of Noblesse if you're running her on support. But if you're running her on main DPS, I would highly suggest 4-piece of Crimson Witch of Flames, because of the passive. The 2-piece itself already gives you 15% pyro damage bonus, and then at the same time for 4-piece, it basically amplifies all your reaction for vaporize, melt, and then at the same time, I believe for overloaded, it also increase the damage. So it's just one thing that you guys have to keep in mind. And then for Constellation, I have her on C5. I still haven't gotten the final Constellation for her. So, but Shangling is pretty much okay to run on C0. So as, Xingqiu, as well as Bennett. Bennett, as much as possible, you would want to get Constellation 1 at least to remove that HP restriction. Because if you guys can see here on the description, it says that, or let's just go through Bennett's talents. So normally, when you use Bennett's ultimate, if your HP, or if the character's HP actually falls below 70% of their health, it will it has two effects. It will either heal them or boost their damage, and that is without Constellation 1. With Constellation 1, it basically eliminates that HP requirement, and it will already sort of like boost your damage without any HP requirement. So that is one good thing about Bennett. So as much as possible, you would want to have him on C1, but Shangling and Xingqiu, they're pretty much okay to run at C0. So in terms of talents, because of Constellation, I have 6, 10, 11. And finally for Leona, um, I have Leona as full support and a shielder. If you guys don't know, Leona actually scales off of HP, similar to Zhongli. So you might want to run her on HP. So the best weapon, oh sorry, I forgot to mention the best weapon for Shangling. So for Shangling, you have Shangling is a little bit flexible. You're pretty much able to use different um, weapons for her. The first one is, of course, Dragon's Bane, which is pretty much one of the best weapons if you're running Shangling. It's because of the substat, which is Elemental Mastery. If you're using Shangling, you really want to make sure that you are, creating elemental reactions such as Melt and Vaporize. And that's exactly why I was using Xingqiu with Shangling to create that constant Vaporize reaction. So the higher elemental mastery you have, the stronger the reaction will be. So if you guys noticed earlier, my Shangling was hitting at about 38,000 per tick in terms of her ultimate. So yeah, another best weapon that you can use on Shangling if you're running Shangling as a support would be Favonius Lance, because this particular weapon actually gives you on crit whenever you hit an enemy and it crits, it basically at the refinement 5, it basically gives you 100% chance to generate an amount of elemental particles that that will be going through or funneling for your entire team and not only for whoever picks up the particles. So it's one good passive of Favonius sword or Favonius weapons in general. That's why they are pretty good. You can also use Lithic Spear if you have Lithic Spear. For some reason, I don't have Lithic Spear right now. Lithic Spear is also pretty good, but it's only best if you are using a lot of different characters from the region of Liyue. Currently, if you guys notice, majority of my characters are actually from the region Mondstadt. So Lithic Spear might not be the best. The next best weapon would actually be the new weapon from Inazuma, which is this Kitan Cross Spear. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but basically it's an Elemental Mastery substat, and then at the same time it increases the damage of your elemental skill for 6%, and at the same time it basically gains more energy whenever you are using it. So it's actually pretty good as a support weapon, and it gets better the more refinement you have for this particular weapon. You can also use Deathmatch if you're using Shangling for main DPS, as well as the Blackleaf Polearm from the Glitter Shop. And if you have 5-star weapons, I wouldn't I wouldn't suggest you to use your 5-star weapons on Shangling. But if you happen to have a Skyward Spine, I believe, the spear, that would be a good weapon for Shangling as well, because it has a energy recharge substat, and also it boosts your crit rate as well. So let's move on to the next character. So going back to Leona, Leona, I'm currently running her as a full support. So if you guys can see here, nothing much, nothing special in terms of her damage. The best weapon for Leona would definitely be energy recharge bows. So any energy recharge bows would work pretty well with Leona. So currently, I'm running her on Favonius Warbow, because again, one of the passive of Favonius would be to funnel energy particles to all of your teammates and not only particularly to one character. So that's why I prefer to use it. You are also able to use Sacrificial Bow, which will allow you to use your elemental skill twice, the shield. And then one good thing about Leona is that she's pretty easy to build. I mean, you don't need to build damage for her, literally. And the best, one of the things that I would discourage you to do would be to build Leona as a healing support. What do I mean by that is, on the artifacts that you will be running on her, please avoid running the Maiden's Beloved set, because it's really not going to help you. I mean, Leona already heals a lot, and especially with the proper investment, she will heal a lot, and it will be actually, it will reach a point that she would heal too much, and you wouldn't really need a lot of those healing, right? So you still want to run her on healing bonus, but it's not really like a healing bonus set in terms of artifacts. So currently I'm running her on Noblesse set, um, which is pretty good for melt. I normally run her with my Diluc or Hutao if I want to, have like melt reaction constantly. And so, in terms of elemental skill, of course, you wanna prioritize these two skills, which is the shield, which basically scales off of her HP. So you wanna build Leona's HP. I mean her max HP. That's why if you guys can see here, I have my Leona at 22,800 HP, right? And so in terms of sands, you wanna run her on HP. Of course, HP for the flower, attack for the plume, those are fixed. Sands definitely HP. Goblet, you don't really need a lot of cryo damage for Leona because again you're not building her for damage, so you can actually choose, you know, HP Goblet as well. And for Circlet, I'm running her on healing bonus just for that, sustained healing bonus, right? In terms of Constellation, I have her on C6. One of the best thing about Leona, if you have her on C6, would actually be the C6 itself, which means that whoever is in the radius of Leona's ultimate, it increases of course, the healing bonus. I mean, the healing for those, character that is within the radius, especially if they fall under the 30%. But at the same time, it actually boosts, or it actually gives you additional 200 elemental mastery when the HP is above 50%. So can you just imagine if you have a character that is about to die, you use Leona's ult, and you basically let your character be within that circle, and you wait for the HP of that particular character to reach 50% and above. It will basically give that particular character additional 200 elemental mastery for that sweet, elemental reaction. So Leona is, a cryo character. So if you're using pyro like Diluc or Hutao, definitely this would be a perfect, combination. So in terms of talents, you don't want to prioritize any of her basic attack. You want to focus on the shield, and also the ultimate. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope, this video give you a lot of insights, as well as guided you on how to build these 4-star characters. So let me know in the comments below if you have questions about how to build these characters, and I'll be more than happy to answer you guys. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.